Oh, there we go. Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. Looking forward to talking with Adam Coffey. Adam, it's good to see you again. Enjoyed having you on the show a while back, talking about your best-selling book, The Private Equity Playbook. And now you've written a new book called The Exit Strategy Playbook, the definitive guide to selling your business. So let's talk about that, because I think a lot of companies, who are thinking about selling their business are thinking about it sooner than they did maybe pre-COVID. And they're thinking about it maybe differently than they did for different reasons. So let's just talk about the mindset of why people are thinking about selling today.
Well, hey, John, good to talk to you. Hello to all the listeners out there. Good to be back. So,
Thank you.
let's have some fun. So,
Yeah.
when I personally think about entrepreneurs, it's the uncertainty of things like COVID that kind of
Mhm.
shakes people in their core, in their wheelhouse, and they say to themselves, yeah, I thought there would never be a downside potential risk to my business. Now I'm seeing that life could really throw me a curveball, and
Yeah.
geez, maybe I better diversify a little bit. Maybe I better take some chips off the table. And then you have other things, politically going on. The potential of higher taxation rates, things like that. And so I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, what's happened in the last couple of years has kind of led them to start talking about and thinking about, maybe I should do something sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And so for those people who are thinking that, or really anybody who's thinking that, to me, it's a lot about surrounding yourself with the proper people, right? And defining who those people are, right? If you know the how of what you want to do, right? I want to ultimately exit and sell my business. I think the next question is, who do you need to help you do that? Who are the team of advisors? Who are the people you need at your company? Who all the who's you need to make that happen so you can exit. So can you talk a little bit about the preparation that needs to go into the exit strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just start with one of the biggest mistakes I think that entrepreneurs tend to make is they're experts in building a business. They're experts in running their business. They know everything there is to know about their business. And somehow they believe that expertise that they've developed over time translates into, I'm also an expert at selling a business, or
Mm-hmm.
getting through an exit process. And like anything we do in life, if you do it one time, maybe you get lucky. You go bowling for the first time, you throw a ball, you get a strike, and you think, God, I'm a professional bowler.
Yeah.
But let me tell you that with most things, repetition breeds expertise.
Yeah.
And people who build businesses become experts because they've had failures along the way, they've had experiences along the way. And so exiting a business is definitely an area of expertise. And if an entrepreneur has never sold a business before or only done it once, imagine me as a CEO for 21 years building 3 large companies where I've bought and sold 100 businesses. You learn things, through that repetition. So I think the first rule, golden rule for most entrepreneurs out there is, unless you've bought and sold 30 businesses, 40 businesses, 100 businesses, recognize you're potentially not an expert, and that this is the biggest asset and probably the biggest transaction of your life.
Yeah.
So let's get that right.
Yeah.
So the first thing is preparing a business for sale. A lot of entrepreneurs wake up one day and say, Jesus, the tax rates are going up next year. I got 15 days left in the year. I better hurry up and sell this puppy. That's not the best time to think about selling. You need to do some prep work in advance. Generally speaking, you need personal tax advice. You need professional or business tax and accounting advice. You need assistance preparing financial statements for a universe of potential buyers. So there's roles for accountants, for tax advisors, personal and business. You're going to need competent specialty legal counsel who buys and sells companies all day. This is another area where a lot of entrepreneurs make mistakes. Is they tend to think that, hey, The guy I play golf with every Sunday, person I have this ongoing relationship with my business, they'll be fine. They'll be fine selling it. Boy, I could tell you horror stories and go on for days about mistakes made by people, that are attorneys, that are practicing attorneys, and the mistakes that they make that have cost entrepreneurs millions of dollars, post close of a transaction. So competent legal advice is important. And then finally, you need an investment banker. I always use real estate as the example. If you think about selling a house, most people would have a realtor, on the buy side, on the sell side. There's always some kind of professional in between buyers and sellers helping you market the property, helping you determine what the fair market value is of the property. And in the world of selling businesses, there is the investment banker, and the investment banker plays that role. So those are really kind of the four key areas. It's tax and accounting advice. Oftentimes it could be one firm, but it's different partners, different practices within the firm. It's a competent attorney. It's an investment banker. Those are the people that you really need in your corner to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I mean, that was kind of like a mini master's class on what to do as you're getting ready to sell your company. Let's rewind a little bit more and talk about, the sales, the messaging, the marketing, how companies, are kind of prepping that and, cleaning that up, getting the proper managers in place, getting, evolving the sales, the leadership team, getting everybody really in sync, right? And then also, how do they message that they're going to sell the property? Sell the company without people saying, well, then I'm going to leave. Or, okay, well, if you're prepping for sale, what's in it for me? So
yeah,
you kind of marry those two, right? So, hey, sales team, we're going to sell the company, or we're going to go public. And so really, you hustle, hustle, hustle. Okay, well, where do what's in it for me? Because I think that's pretty common today.
Another common mistake I think a lot of entrepreneurs make is to try to be very secretive about the sale of their business.
Right.
And I understand, I get it. It's for the reasons you just mentioned. People are going to freak out. They're going to think that they're going to lose a job. They're going to leave. And so the way that I've always dealt with that in my own personal career is I talk about it on day one. I talk about it on the day I'm hired, not just, at the time of sale. And I talk about it every year. Hey, there are different kinds of capital structures in the world. You have public companies, you have private companies. When you're a public company, those companies are bought and sold every day, literally, on the stock exchange.
Yeah.
You can buy a share of Ford this morning, you can sell it in the afternoon, or sell it next week, or hold it for 10 years. You have instant liquidity because it's a public company. And so I spend time educating employees. Hey, we're privately held. We're held by an institutional investor. My companies are usually private equity owned. But even if it's a family owned business, hey, we're a private company. As we grow, as we get bigger, there's going to be time where I need to bring in, new capital partners, new investors to help us. And the business doesn't necessarily stop and cease to exist, but it's going to go through these different iterations, of growth on its journey towards ultimately, very large public company. And so I talk about it frequently. Every year I would tell employees, this is how much revenue we have. This is what our EBITDA is. This is kind of the target for the next transaction. And this is when I'm going to bring in a bunch of new capital and new shareholders to replace my old ones. And then we're going to grow to this size, and then we're going to go public, or whatever the case may be. So I think being transparent with employees when it's not threatening, rather than waiting to the last minute, and always be talking about there's going to be transitions that take place. There's going to be capital coming in, capital going out. And, the company is a merry-go-round. It keeps on spinning while these investors are jumping on, jumping off. Don't let it freak you out. Because I think from an entrepreneurial perspective, in order to get maximum value, you really need to be transparent rather than having secret meetings inside hotel conference rooms. I want to bring investors into the business, let them experience the culture firsthand, let them see what we're all about. because all of that can lead to what I'll say a higher valuation, a more maximum value when it is time to exit.
Yeah.
And exiting doesn't mean the entrepreneur rides off into the sunset. It could be entrepreneur takes some of the spoils of the victory and puts it away and diversifies their investments, but then continues to roll forward, with a new set of shareholders and keeps running the business, working towards the next payday. So
Right.
another mistake. A lot of entrepreneurs think that selling a business is a one-time event. I've spent a career, showing you that you can sell the same business multiple times while you're running it and building it and get multiple paydays. And the secondary paydays are bigger than the first. So
yeah, I love it.
Lot to learn.
Yeah. Well, what I love what you're talking about is the importance of, understanding what that vision is for the company, articulating it to people from day one, being very transparent. And there's nothing worse than too many, even a minimal amount, but when there's a lot of closed door meetings going on, that is highly distracting to a company, not good for the company culture. And everybody will ultimately find out, just not tell the owners that they know. And then everybody builds their own narrative and it creates a lot of fear. So I agree with you. I mean, the secretiveness of it is, I don't think is the smart path. And I think greed, I've seen a lot of companies as a business coach. I've worked with a lot of companies where the ones that have a greedy mindset, it doesn't work for them in the long term. And so it's always good if you take care of the people that actually helped you get to where you are. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, I was starting to smile when you were talking because I was thinking of the recent IPO of Spanx and how that
Oh yeah,
CEO,
correct. Yeah,
gave first class plane tickets to anywhere in the world you want to go and $10,000 or whatever the amount was.
right.
I
Think
certainly.
I think she gave every person $10,000 and a first. I think it was maybe first class. I want to say, I can't remember, but first class tickets, like you said, and she was praised, and some people were kind of like, wait, what? But she did not let greed get in the way.
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
I can tell you some personal stories. When I was running a company on behalf of a family, and they ultimately were transitioning, they were giving up to 2 years. I call it severance. These weren't even people who were losing a job, by the way. Their jobs were continuing. Just the family was leaving, and they were saying thank you. And people who had been there, they had a formula. It was like 2 weeks per year of service, up to a maximum, of 2 years on the first go round.
Yeah.
Then they decided, wow, that was just too much. So they knocked it back to a year on a subsequent sale. But, I think that, when you share the wealth with your employees, when you're transparent about what's taking place, it actually can be an exciting time, kind of a rebirth, if you will, for everybody, not just for the shareholders who are getting the massive, paydays, but also then
Right.
for the line employees who are getting something that, that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Yeah.
So I always have believed in transparency. I
Yeah.
think it's the right answer. And in today's
Yeah.
world, with difficulty in hiring and retaining, I think that workforce today
Yeah.
demands to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think that is a common mistake I see that people can avoid and actually turn it into a strength. Because
Yeah.
if I can get investors inside a company rather than a dumpy old conference room, I can really show them the culture firsthand. And
Yeah.
headquarters are an important piece of that. So,
Right. And there's
it's
no
all
secrets going on. Yeah. No, I love that.
yeah.
I just Google it real quickly, and yeah, we were right. So Sarah Blakely celebrates Spanx Blackstone deal by giving all employees first class plane tickets and $10,000. I
Yeah,
mean,
nice
that's cool.
nice day, huh?
Yeah, it's a nice day. Kudos to her. All right, Adam. We talked a lot about the book, the Exit Strategy Playbook, which can be found, I know, on Amazon.com. But give the Think community one specific takeaway that they're going to get from the book.
So I think it's really the understanding of what is required to prepare a business for sale, to hire a team of advisors to get you maximum value, and then what that process is actually going to look like. And if you read this book in about 4 hours, just like my first, you're going to get 21 years worth of CEO best practices and cliff notes from a guy who's bought and sold over 100 businesses, ranging in size from $1 million to $1 billion. And so, 4 hours, cliff notes, 21 years worth of learnings, and you can get all of that right this second on Amazon. The Exit Strategy Playbook is actually 99 cents if you're a Kindle reader. I don't remember what the promotion is that's going on right now, or there's some kind of sale event that's taking place, and I signed up for it. So, for $1, less than the price of a bad cup of coffee, you can get 21 years worth of knowledge.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right, good. Well, hey, this has been great. Ready for a quick speed round?
Absolutely.
All right. Your favorite book and why?
It's an old book. It's been around a long time, but I keep recommending it. And it's called The Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah,
and it's
good book.
So many entrepreneurs really need to understand, what does wealth look like in America, and what is the target I'm shooting for? And what better way to do it than to study, thousands of people who've achieved that.
Yeah. Yeah. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Once a president, always a president. I had a mentor at GE who actually recommended I leave GE to go take my first role as president. And he said, Adam, GE's not going to see you as a president until you go be one somewhere else. After Jack left GE, my phone started ringing from people who didn't get that job, but they landed in other big companies. Hey, Adam, come run a division for me. And so the best advice I ever got was once a president, always a president. Adam, you should leave GE to go be a president of a small company.
I love it. And what are you doing now, Adam?
So I just recently made a pivot. After 21 years as a CEO, I started this thing called the CEO Advisory Guru. And I'm now serving on boards. I'm working with founders. I'm working with private equity firms, really as a CEO coach, as a mentor. Recently a founder called me the Exit Sherpa. Yeah. So, helping them, you can read the book, but then you can also get kind of a guided exit where I help you hire that team of professionals, watch over your shoulders, help you look at the universe of buyers, and just kind of coach you through that process. So I'm doing speaking gigs. I'm doing board roles. I'm doing assignments with entrepreneurs. And really, my desire was not just to run one company, but to have a positive impact on multiple companies at a time.
Yeah.
And that's what this pivot was all about.
Good. Well, I love it. Well, I appreciate you taking time to be on the show. And the Exit Strategy Playbook can be found on Amazon.com. Think Community. If Adam can help you and you're thinking about selling your business, reach out to him. Adam, thanks so much, man. Appreciate all your time. And it was great to see you again. Congratulations.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Thanks to all your listeners.